Hey y'all, it's me, Kevvie. Happy Pride! At the start of the month, this was the only Pride video I had planned. I've made how many now? This playlist will tell you. Now I'm finally at the video I've been building up to all month. I figured I have to read something queer for Pride Month, and what better way to celebrate than with Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo is my all-time favorite artist. Mainstream media has reduced her to being the face of ugly can be beautiful too, and bastardizing her image by photoshopping it with makeup and shit. Like, look at this shit. That's not Frida Kahlo. No. Frida Kahlo is a disabled, queer, Mexican, communist icon who used painting to explore themes of gender, nationalism, and identity. As an art historian, I believe Frida Kahlo is one of the great surrealist painters. When people think surrealism, they typically think of Europeans like Magritte or Salvador Dali. But Frida Kahlo is a Mexican surrealist who applies surrealism to self-portraits that examine who she is and her struggles with identity. I've picked up a copy of Frida Kahlo's diary, an intimate self-portrait. But before we delve into that, I just want to show you real quick some of my favorite Frida Kahlo paintings. First, there's this iconic self-portrait with the thorn necklace and the hummingbird. This seems like just a simple portrait, but it's full of symbolism. The leaves behind her are full of life, but the thorns around her neck are yellowed and lifeless. The hummingbird, normally colorful, energetic creature, is black and stoic. And of course, the black cat, one of the most common symbols of death or disaster. The wounded deer is an excellent example of her gender play. She paints her body on the face of a deer, but gives herself big antlers, which are only found on male deer. I find it interesting that even in this anthropomorphized fantasy, Frida's body is still damaged. The broken column represents Frida's struggles with her broken body. She had polio as a young child, which permanently disabled her. And then when she was 18, she was involved in a vehicular accident that crushed her leg, her spine, and her reproductive organs. The accident also made her infertile, which comes up in a lot of her work. Here, though, the focus is on her spine, represented by an ancient Greek column that's falling apart. The nails covering her body represent the chronic pain that she endures all over her body. My Birth is a horrific little painting depicting Frida's head crowning out of her mother's vagina after her mother has died in childbirth. The white sheet is pulled up covering her mother's head, so all we see of her is her naked bottom half with a child sticking out of her. Moses is a beautiful mural inspired by one of Freud's books. It depicts not just baby Moses, but what he looked like as a developing fetus inside his mother. The backdrop is clearly the Nile River in Egypt, but each side of the river is adorned with historical figures, communist leaders, and Freud himself. I just love how much is going on in this mural, and every time I look at it, I find something new. The last painting I want to show you is The Suicide of Dorothy Hale. Dorothy Hale was a real-life woman who, spoilers, committed suicide. A friend of Dorothy commissioned a remembrance portrait, and Frida decided to depict the moment of her death, showing her at the top of the building, mid-fall, and splattered on the ground below. Of course, Dorothy's friend was not very pleased with it. Frida Kahlo's paintings are more than works of art. They are a glimpse inside of the mind and body of the artist. Reading her diary gives you even more insight into the woman behind the art. And with that, let's take a look at it. The dust jacket shows one of the drawings from inside the diary. A little preview of what's to come. Honestly, it isn't the image I would have chosen, but look at the cover underneath the dust jacket. Oh my gosh. This is just so beautiful. The bronze lettering against the solid black is just stunning. A beautiful juxtaposition. So the format of the book first prints the entire diary unobstructed. Then after the diary, there are translations and analyses breaking down each page. Of course, both translation and interpretation are subjective. So it may not be a perfect representation of what's inside the diary, but as a non-Spanish speaker, I cannot confirm that for myself. So I value what's presented, but I'm aware not to take it as gospel. First, I gotta say, this diary is beautiful. It's written in whatever medium was handy, whether it was colored pencil, crayon, ink, or paint, in all sorts of vibrant colors. Some pages aren't even written on, rather used as a canvas to paint or draw. There is so much beautiful art in here. Like, look at these beautiful figures and colors dancing in the sun. I love the geometry going on in here. And the silly title, Stupid Monument. This is another example of Frida Kahlo's humor. This one's titled, Look How Ugly People Are. Look at that. And this is just breathtaking. These superb drawings, colored in beautifully. That's just a tiny sampling of the art inside this diary. The primary theme that permeates the diary is Frida's love for her husband, Mexican muralist Diego Rivera. Despite his negative qualities, his affair, and their brief divorce, Frida loved Diego relentlessly, and that is pervasive throughout the diary. She uses the yin and yang symbol to represent their relationship. It can be found all over the diary, like here and here. Listen to this love letter she wrote to her husband. Diego, I asked you for violence, and you gave me grace. I'd like to paint you, but there are no colors, because there are so many colors, the tangible form of my great love. Then scribbled beneath it, like an elated schoolgirl, she wrote and crossed out, Today, Diego kissed me. Here she describes her relationship as she who wears the color and he who sees the color. This is a fascinating page. She writes, Diego beginning, Diego child, Diego boyfriend, Diego my lover, Diego my husband, Diego my friend, Diego my mother, Diego my father, Diego my son, Diego me. Then on the following page, she says, Why do I call him my Diego? He never was or will be mine. He belongs to himself. Frida had 3 great loves in her life. Diego, Trotsky, and communism. Communism was always important to her, and as she got older and sicker, her love for communism grew stronger. Here is a page dedicated to the anniversary of Russia's Bolshevik Revolution, which was also the anniversary of her dedicating a painting to her lover, Leon Trotsky. But of course, at the bottom, she calls out, Diego, I'm alone. As Frida became more and more ill, she became even more emboldened in her passion for communism. She says, I want to transform my painting into something useful for the communist revolutionary movement. Since up to now, I have only painted the earnest portrayal of myself, but I'm very far from work that could serve the party. I have to fight with all my strength to contribute the few positive things my health allows me to the revolution. It is the only true reason to live for. Later she writes, I had been sick since I was 6 years old, and for really very short periods of my life have I enjoyed truly good health, and I was of no use to the party. Now, in 1953, after 22 surgical interventions, I feel better, and now and then I will be able to help my communist party. See here she draws the classic communist symbol along with the names of the pillars of communism. The one other theme we see throughout this diary is Frida's pain. Like I said earlier, she was always in a lot of pain from polio, the accident, and all of the subsequent complications. Over the course of her life, she had over 30 surgeries, and she discusses the pain over the course of her diary, but especially in the later pages. On this page, dated 1950 to 51, Frida describes her life after going through many surgeries. She says, I have been sick for a year now. 7 operations on my spinal column. I am still in the wheelchair and I don't know if I'll be able to walk again soon. I have a plaster corset. Even though it is a frightful nuisance, it helps my spine. I don't feel any pain, only this bloody tiredness, and naturally, quite often, despair. Here she depicts her disabled foot, along with Viva Stalin and Viva Diego. And of course, you see the yin and yang symbol there, representing the two of them. At this point, Frida was bedridden and had to wear steel corsets to keep her spine aligned. She writes, "Years, waiting in anguish, hidden away, my spine broken, and the immense glass, footless through the vast path, carrying on, my life enclosed in steel. Diego!" Her mind still goes back to her husband. On the following page, Frida depicts a statue of feet with thorns growing out of them. Beneath it, she asks, "Feet, what do I need them for, if I have wings to fly?" At this point in her life, her foot was infected with gangrene, and she knew it was a matter of time before it had to be removed. Her leg was amputated the following year. As we get to the end of the diary, Frida is acutely aware of her imminent death. She's been terribly ill, in so much pain, and was ready for it to all be over. On the very last written page of the diary, she starts out by thanking all the doctors who have helped her through her latest surgery. And then ponders her imminent death. She says, "I hope the leaving is joyful, and I hope never to return. Frida." She was in so much pain. Oh. As you can see, Frida Kahlo's diary is a beautiful piece of art, and potentially the most personal work of art she ever made. If you love art, Mexican heritage, queer content, disability content, or communist content, you will love this book. Do you have a favorite Frida Kahlo painting? Or do you like any other Mexican surrealists? I love Remedios Varo, especially her painting Locomotion Capilar. Let me know if you'd like to see more art history content here on this channel. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if it pleases and sparkles, I'll see you in the next video. Mwah!